Hey guys, what's up? Well, the story kind of took a crazy turn there the last two videos. I honestly didn't know where we were going to go from here. I didn't know if anybody really cared about the characters. All the comments you guys left was absolutely amazing, much appreciated. And, it shows that, like, when you're involved in a story like that, you do kind of care about the characters. You start to, like, develop this thing for the characters. Like, even me, I was like, dude, this really sucks. These guys are dying. And there was nothing I could do about it. I appreciate all the comments and you guys saying how good the storytelling was and stuff. It's much appreciated. And like I said, I started thinking, like, well, is this it? Is this the end of the story? I mean, only Thundarian is left. I don't know. Do people like Thundarian? Do they hate him? I don't really know, because not too many people mention what they think about the characters. They're just kind of going for the ride for the story, and that's cool. But that's why it's so important that you leave a comment. I'm not like begging for likes or anything. I'm begging for interaction with the video from my point of view. Hey, let's be clear. Sound like a president right there. Let's be clear about this. I know I'm not shooting to be like this YouTuber guy. I know my channel. I know that this is like a niche that, like, I'm not gonna be that paid YouTube guy. That this channel isn't gonna get 100,000 subscribers. I'm also a realist. And so I just do this for the love of it. As I told you guys before, I've been a YouTuber since 2009. And so I just like posting this stuff, and the interaction is so important, because as a dungeon master, when I was running the professional games, one of the things that people really loved, the campaign was built around the backstories of the characters, right? So when you guys put your input in, who you like, what you think is going on, that type of thing, that helps me build the story from there, right? Like, little ideas can plant a seed, and then I take it over and just kind of go from there. Anyways, the point where I was going with all this is I had watched, I'm sure a lot of you have, the Walking Dead series. And I'm envisioning that this campaign is kind of like that, to where at first I thought you guys would be disinterested if the main party died, but it doesn't seem that way. A lot of people were saying, I can't wait to see where this goes with Thundarian. Does he, like, pick up his feet? Does he get back to it with a new group or whatever? And it's kind of like Walking Dead. If all the characters get killed off, like, a new batch comes in, maybe one at a time, here and there, and you guys might like these newer characters even better. I get to, from a gaming point, I get to explore all the new other character classes and character builds, and we get to kind of see how everything feels and plays. And you guys might like the new characters even more. I mean, by the time we're done with this, we might have a whole new batch of characters, which is pretty cool. I mean, at first I was worried about that, but it is kind of cool that, we might be able to bring in a whole new batch of guys. I hope Thundarian survives. That way we have at least, like, that one character that's still around, that's like, he's part of the original group, the original crew, and can he come back from this? And so the good news is, being a dungeon master, I have a lot of cool ideas for the campaign coming up. And that's the next thing that I'm going to get into here, is the game. Give me your opinion down in the comments, but the game is kind of evolving into, like, I've always said it's no secret that I'm playing this to be like a Dungeons & Dragons game, like a solo Dungeons & Dragons game. That's not a secret. And the game is kind of evolving into that a little bit without too many people noticing. I mean, maybe you do notice, I don't know. But it's going to continue to evolve even more, probably. I mean, everything from the proxy and the miniatures into D&D miniatures to actual functions in the game. Now, the gameplay mechanics and stuff are mostly staying the same. But let me give an example. Last objective room there, I was a little beat down about that. As we go through these dungeons, I don't think that every single dungeon needs an objective room. Like this big thing where there's 100 monsters in it, and the players get surrounded, and then the big guys are up here, and then they almost die here, and then the even tougher guys with all these abilities come down in there. I think that needs to be reserved for more special occasions. Speaking of the objective rooms, I think because this game is made to be like a one-shot game, yeah, you can go on in campaign, right? But they wanted it super tough at the end, where, again, I don't have a problem with character death, and I don't have a problem with tough encounters, but every single objective room doesn't need to be 100 monsters in it, you know? Like, you have like 4 really tough characters up here, and then like you as a player, you're like, wow, that's going to be tough enough the way it is, and then you got like 12 other minions coming in and surrounding the players, right? So I'm going to really look at encounter building and how this kind of plays out. Like, just make it, I'm going to put my little touches on it. It's going to be cool. But I again, sure, you know, some objective rooms, yeah, let's have them like overwhelming, but not everyone has to be overwhelming. Like when I did the orc game, or if you go back to the orc game where we went into the through the woods into the orc encampment, the end guy there was like the big end guy, and then he had this big spider and then a bunch of little spiders with him. That was all me, right? So that wasn't, and people really liked that battle. So that's, as long as it's exciting and dangerous and it fits into the story, that's the kind of objective rooms I think that we're going to be doing. Now there's other stuff too, like optional stuff like traps and puzzles and like all this other crap that I'm going to be adding in as well to kind of make it like just a more organic. I don't want it to be like the same thing every time. Like, okay, we've hit the objective room and now there's 100 monsters and we battle for a half hour, right? It's actually longer than that, but when I edit it down, a big objective room, you end up spending time watching that. It's about a half hour long. So going back to keeping the game real tight and kind of short, you know, I'm going to work on all of that kind of stuff just to make it. The whole point here is a pleasurable viewing experience for the people. And again, this kind of is like Dungeons and Dragons for me. Like, yeah, I understand that it's Warhammer Quest 95, and again, the purists will, you know, I'm sure they'll have their complaints, but that's fine. This is just a tool set for me to play solo Dungeons and Dragons. That's the way I see it. Also, we're definitely going to be bringing in some of the more iconic Dungeons and Dragons monsters. And one of the things that I'm going to start doing is, I think I'm going to start, I don't want to ruin like the randomness of it. Like, it's still going to be random by the cards and stuff, but I'm going to stock the dungeons according to the theme of the story. So you're not going to see like all this variety of monsters. Like, what is this thing doing in here? Why are these guys here? I want it to be like Dungeons and Dragons, where this is a themed dungeon. You know, if we're fighting goblins, there's going to be different varieties of goblins in here, you know, and then maybe the goblins have a pet, and then there's the big boss orc guy or something like that. But I just don't want to have like all this randomness. We're making this more into a story. Now, how do you do that efficiently? You guys don't have to worry about that. I'll deal with all of that stuff. And finally, some of the changes to the like boss guys, if you want to say that, or their minions or whatever. If there's 100 abilities on each guy, I'm not doing that. So if you happen to be watching the videos and you're like, hey, that guy's got Assassinate on a 6+, and you don't see me doing it, that's for a reason. Because in these objective rooms, like this last objective room, I am looking at so much information, plus telling a story, plus recording it. I have my 4 PCs with all of their weapons, all of their special abilities. I had 3 special end guys, 3 or 4. Yeah, 4. I had the Hag Queen, her 2 little minions, and Wraith, the assassin. They all had 4 or 5 special abilities each. And then I had the Hobgoblins, and they had a couple little things. I mean, it's too much. It's too much for one person to try to juggle all that information. So the way I see it is, if something gets skipped over or something gets missed, it's not a big deal. And most likely, unless I've just missed it, which I do miss stuff occasionally, and I'll catch it in the editing, you know, like somebody had said in the comments that I had missed an attack that bypasses armor, but it still uses the toughness. I did. I caught that in the editing. And that, again, that's not a big deal either. But it's like I said, with all of this other stuff, it's just going to be reduced. It's just for the story. You know, if I drop like the Cauldron of Blood. The Cauldron of Blood was supposed to give the all the witches, all the witch characters, like the Hag Queen and then her 2 little minions, supposed to give her 2 attacks. Give them all 2 attacks on top of 2 cards this big that had abilities on it. I was like, what? No, that's way too much. That's just, you know, some of this extra material. See, what I do is I just pick little parts from the extra material and I add it into our story. And, you know, I'll take end guys, or I'll take parts. Like I said, I'll take little pieces of information and add it in. And some of that stuff is it's supposed to be made for first level characters. I would strongly disagree with that. And a lot of people have messaged me, PM'd me, and said that stuff is for high level characters, even though it's made for first level characters. Yeah, I'm super stoked to let you guys know that Thundarian, he's not giving up. He is in a downward spiral right now. He's having like a little episode, and he's drinking a lot, and the weeks are going by. He's just trying to, he feels like crap because he disappeared out of there, and he knew that there really wasn't much he could do, and Javen told him to get out anyway. But he just like when he got the sword, his first sword originally, and they had to come in and help kill the Minotaur, and then Javen gave him the sword. He wasn't too happy about that. He's kind of feeling like a failure maybe as a barbarian. He's trying to find himself, and there's a whole new story that's about to unfold. So I look forward to sharing that with you guys, and I will catch you in the next video. See ya.